Hello everybody! I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys must have thought that it was already the end, right? No, it's still not the end though. So we've already gotten done with Sora's campaign and Rechain of Memories, and so we're back to doing Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories, this time with Riku's campaign called Rebirth. And why is it called Reverse Rebirth, you may ask though? It's weird, doesn't make sense. Well, I mean, there's some context for it, though. But, but we now have a new story for us, and so, yeah, we're going to see what Riku's been up to. And it's actually, and yeah, I'm just going to set this game up, well, the game's making me just set everything up to play as Riku, but yeah, and we're playing as a real Riku this time, not the replica. So, anyway, let's get started on this one, shall we? First off, before we get started on this campaign, I'd like to let you guys know that all throughout, and for what you can definitely notice, the characters will be saying the word darkness a lot. And I do mean a lot. Because clearly, the writers developed a fetish with the word during the game's development. So, even though it's already been a decade, not that I give a shit, I'm also going to participate and follow the example of the Super Gaming Brothers and count the number of times the word darkness has been said. And keep in mind that it's only going to be in voice cutscenes and text dialogue. Gameplay doesn't count since I'm cutting out the battles anyway. With all that said, let's get started.
Where am I?
Stay asleep.
Who's there?
You should remain asleep. Here, between light and dark.
Between what? The king! Where's the king? Together we close the door to darkness. After that?
You came drifting here by yourself. You did not have the strength to overcome the darkness. Or maybe you were close to it.
As if I'm some kind of demon.
Turn from the light. Shut your eyes. Here, blanketed by the darkness, sleep is safety. Sleep is eternal. But
What's this?
it is a door to the truth. Take it and your sleep ends as you take the first step toward the truth. But know this, the truth will bring you pain. Will you still go? There is no return to the security of sleep.
This seemed like a boring place to take a nap anyway.
That was very well said, Riku.
A door to the truth, huh?
Alright, well, now our first world is going to be Hollow Bastion of all places. So yeah, now we're finally out of this Wii chamber for for what it's worth. And so now we're in Cultural Riku. So let me know that Chain of Memories is actually the very first game where Riku is playable. Yeah, it actually has somebody else other than Sora, for one. So that's pretty nice, for one thing. So, a bit of a recap for what Riku's been doing. So, at the end of Kingdom Hearts 1, Riku and King Mickey helped Sora with sealing the door to darkness, but they got stuck on the other side of the door, while Sora and his friends were also on the other side, and so they went off their search. And so, we're not exactly sure how Riku ended up here, and, well, first in that Wii chamber, but now they went back over to Castle Oblivion, or at least he did, though, but he lost out to King Mickey, so... Anyway, let's go and go explore Hollow Bastion right now. As you can see here, it says we're going to B12F, which means that Riku's actually starting off at the bottom of Castle Oblivion, unlike with Sora, where he's just starting at the middle or going at the top. Yeah, here we are in Hollow Bastion. This is Hollow Bastion. Yeah, no shade, Riku. What you see is not real. It's the world of your memory. My memory? The things you remember from your time at Maleficent's castle became a card, and that card made this world. You've seen everything here before, haven't you? Yeah. So what now? Am I going to learn something? Maybe meet someone? You would meet the people in your memories. Ordinarily. What does that mean? Hey, I'm asking you a question. Yeah, again with this. Fine. But it had better be you I run across next, voice. Oh yeah, apparently it has a name. It's just called Voice. So yeah, no other name given. It's just a voice talking to Riku. So yeah, we're just gonna call it Voice. So and now we just got the key of beginnings here. So let's see what you call it. So yeah, it's another one of those. Yeah, again, it's always like this here, where you know they actually just go say something very vague and then they just disappear, leaving us with questions. So I talked about how this was the organization in a nutshell. Well, yeah, same thing here apparently though. So maybe you're another organization member or something. So anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and talk about how much different that, or you know, basically explain Riku's whole gameplay. So basically, when you're in battle, it's well, kind of similar to Sora, but very much different though. So unlike Sora, Riku actually has his own set of deck of cards. So you can see that it's already been set up. So I didn't really customize anything whatsoever though. He just has his own set. And he has his own weapon here. I think it's called the Weight of Dawn, I believe, from what I saw last time. So, anyway, yeah. So, yeah, like I said, Riku's given his own set of cards that they can use here. And yeah, we're pretty much getting some early levels here. And another thing that's kind of different is that for a way of reloading, Riku doesn't really have his own reload counter. So, like, you know, basically, if you get to that black space, then you just simply press the X button, then just immediately reload. So there's no counter for that one. You don't really have to wait. So that's actually real sweet, I would have to say. You know, it's nice that, you know, you can actually be able to reload cards instantaneously, and I actually like that. So it feels a little more convenient in a way. And another thing about him is that, you know, Riku doesn't really have his own slates per se. I mean, he does get something else from it though, but that's not gonna be until later on when we've actually gained that kind of thing. But for now, Riku doesn't really have his own slates. And whenever he levels up, he actually has some new abilities that are beginning to give it to him. For one thing, you know, just like with Sora, you can actually raise his HP, but he also has AP, which is attack power. So what that does, you know, as the name implies, it actually increases Riku's attack power. So that basically replaces the CP, which would be the card points. So as a matter of fact, Riku doesn't really have his own card points at all. So I don't know if he ends up getting more cards though. Well, maybe not though, but at the very least, then, you know, you can still be able to reload instantaneously, so that's actually real nice, one thing. And then the third one you see here is a darkness boost, and exactly what could that be, though? And, you know, for now, we can't really use it because it's completely locked out, so we don't really... Riku doesn't really have that kind of darkness ability. Well, I mean, technically, I guess he would have darkness within him, but, you know... but he doesn't... But in terms of gameplay, though, then he doesn't really have it all with him, so... So for now, we can't really use it, though. We can only just, you know, either raise up the HP or the AP. Or the AP, yeah. Now, in some level ups, you can see that the AP is also, or AP boost is also a bit disabled here. That's only because, you know, it actually works for some certain levels, though. So once you've actually raised up your AP, then it might get locked out again for the next few level ups, so you only have the HP. But some certain level ups, then you'll actually end up getting the AP boost, like I'm actually getting again here, because yeah, like I've been doing before, I'm always gonna go around and destroy more of the Heartless. So that's why I've actually reached up to level 5 right about now, and so level ups are kind of a little faster. And so another thing is that you can see here that, you know, whenever I'm slashing at the objects around here, I'm only getting the HP orbs. That actually means that you know, Riku doesn't really get any new cards at all. So like I said, Riku actually has his own set deck. So there will be no new cards, and also no Moogle orbs. So that also means that there's not going to be any Moogle shops. So at least I don't think so. And you know, and I'm only saying that though because there's actually a bit of a reason that I'll get to. But yeah, there's no, at the moment, there's really no Moogle shops at all, so yeah, the only thing you're going to be getting are just the HP orbs, so if you ever taken any damage, though, then at least they're there. So, anyway, I do want to talk about this, though. For the very first time I played Chain of Memories on the Game Boy Advance, I did actually try going through Sora's story. I have never played through Riku's story in the Game Boy Advance version. And so, and the reason for that is because, you know, like I was saying before, I got completely stuck when I was on the 13th floor of Castle Oblivion because I didn't have the right cards for it, though. I think one of the doors required a specific green card, and I did not have that. So, and you know, if I try to backtrack, then the room's gonna reset. So that's when I actually rage quitted. But I actually did do a test playthrough, or like, you know, a practice playthrough of going through Chain of Memories. And so I did manage to beat Sora's campaign, and so and I actually did go through Riku's campaign. So yeah, so technically I already have played through Riku's campaign, but that's only a Chain of Memories, but never the GBA version, because of those kind of reasons. So at least I got practice for that one, though. But since I only got through it once, though, then I don't really know all that much of the details. So you could probably say that this playthrough might be somewhat blind, but, well, I mean, not exactly blind per se, but kind of blind, though. So I mean, I just had to figure my way around. But, you know, I do make sure to just make sure I pick up on, you know, what exactly go through for each of the rooms, or, you know, for some of the playthroughs, and then just go through it there. But at the same time, then yeah, that's kind of what it is, though. But since it's pretty much, it's probably the same as you're going through Sora's gameplay, so I mean, so don't worry, guys. I'm not really gonna get all that lost, though. I mean, you know, I probably should know my way around, since, you know, it's still, like, you know, standard gameplay for Chain of Memories. You know, just go through each of the rooms and all that. And so another thing is that yeah, I can see I'm actually still going through those battles here, and I know you guys have already seen this whole thing and all that, you know, with Sora's campaign and all that, but I didn't want to make things too quick, though, and so, I mean, you know, it is a Let's Play for one thing, and I do want to at least have some commentary, though, because, you know, as far as the story goes, then, you know, I'm sure a lot of you guys are probably more interested in seeing how the story will unfold, though, but I didn't want to make anything about that, though, because if it'll be nothing but cutscenes, then I'm not gonna be able to commentate all that much, though. So I do want to, you know, provide at least enough commentary as there is, though, because you know, normally I never really talk during cutscenes in Let's Plays, because I'm sure you guys probably want to see the cutscenes themselves, though, if you know, you guys are ever interested, though. Even though sometimes I actually do add in some funny bits, or, you know, some sound effects, or, you know, say things I actually do. Like, you know, if I actually do have something to say about some cutscenes, then, you know, I would actually just blurt them out. But for the most part, then, you know, I don't really talk in cutscenes all that much, though, so that way there, because I know you guys probably want to hear what they're saying, though. So, let's see here. I think that's pretty much all there to say about it. But yeah, like I said, so the way Riku's going up and going after Castle Oblivion, then, you know, he's actually starting from the bottom and then just going up to the top. So yeah, and you know, as far as the whole story goes, so it actually turns out that, you know, Sora's not the only person who's climbing Castle Oblivion, because we actually found out that, you know, now Riku actually is in Castle Oblivion. So you actually recall, you know, back in the beginning where, you know, Sora, Donald, and Goofy had this very strange feeling that, and also including Jiminy, where they had this very strange feeling that both Riku and King Mickey are in there. But it actually turns out that, you know, it's some kind of a curse, or it was actually, you know, as we found out, it was Naminé's doing, because, you know, since Marluxia was actually using her to, you know, basically manipulate Sora into helping him overthrow the organization. And so, yeah, that would have been it, though. But it turns out they actually were right the whole time, though, because Riku, and then a bit of a spoiler here, we actually do find out that King Mickey actually is in Castle Oblivion. So they were pretty much right about that, though, but not in this kind of way. So, anyways, we have another door coming for us right here. So let's see what happens next. Everything is just how I remember it, even this room. It must be nice being back in your old bedroom. Think of all the memories. You again. Sorry, but these memories I could do without. Maleficent gave me this room. So she did. And you lived here. tempted by the darkness she offered. You cast away your home, your friends, everything. But at least they gave you a nice room. Stop talking! I gotta say, though, that line was actually just, you know, kind of funny in a way, though, because, like, you know, oh, they gave you a nice room there. Yeah, like, coming from this mysterious voice of all things, and you're like, oh, you're gonna appreciate this nice little room you have here. So, so yeah, basically what this whole thing is that, you know, since this the whole thing is basically like a, you know, Riku's redemption arc, because back in Kingdom Hearts 1, Riku basically joined the Disney villains, and, you know, and he basically, well, he was basically a dickhead to Sora, because, you know, thinking that, that you know, Sora's, you know, doing nothing but taking him for granted and replacing him with some new friends in Donald and Goofy, even though that wasn't the case, though, and the whole thing was actually stupid to begin with, because, you know, since Sora was actually defending him the whole time, and so he really took it the wrong way. But, yeah, basically this whole thing was basically some kind of, you know, a bit of a cleansing journey, I would say, though. So, yeah, like I said, this whole thing might kind of seem like it's very much the same as it is, though, you know, and kind of similar with gameplay and all that, so it might seem kind of, you know, boring or repetitive and all that, though, but, yeah. But I'm still showing them off anyway, so. No one here either. There's nothing but Heartless in this castle. And another superior landing. Voice! I know you're watching, so explain this. Where are the people from my memories? Do you want to see them? Of course I do. But you cast them aside. What? You dreamt of the outside world, and you passed through the door to darkness. Behind you, you left family, friends, home, everything, all in pursuit of darkness. But I cast that aside too. And what do you have to show for it? First your home, then the dark. Your heart only knows how to cast away. It's empty, like that room. Except it's all, you know, a Wii chamber. Like your memories. That's why you don't meet anyone. Your heart is hollow, except for the residual darkness. You're wrong! I rejected the darkness! Did you really now? Alright, so we have the key to truth here. So, I'm going to go ahead and end this off here. So, what I do want to say, though, that in Hollow Bastion, Riku actually does get all three of the normal cards that Sora would normally get in his playthrough. But only for this world and a certain other world that's later on, though. But every other world, like mainly the Disney worlds, Riku only gets one card because you'll actually see that it's all just going to be a straight shot through there. But, you know, I'll definitely explain more as we get to this world. So, anyway, so yeah, so now we're going through this dark journey of darkness and all that, though, because, you know, Riku at least has more important plot elements for you know, coming up for Kingdom Hearts 2, even though Sora doesn't really have all that much, though, and you know, it's all, you know, none of much which was actually important, though, and, you know, some kind of dumb things that we have here too, but, you know, more on that in the next episode. So anyways, next time let's play Kingdom Hearts Reverse Rebirth, and yeah, I'm just going to call it Reverse Rebirth, though, even though it's still Rechain of Memories, though, but that's actually what it's still going to be titled, though, because that's the name of the campaign. But next time on that next episode, we're going to get a trek through more of Hollow Bastion, and, you know, hopefully Riku should seek out some more answers and all that, and see what the fuck is going on. So, anyways, until next time, I'll see you guys later.